A lot of businesses sometimes seem like they're kind of doing the same thing and they don't really have something unique to offer. Why do you think so many businesses fail to implement an effective brand strategy and differentiate themselves from other companies doing similar things?
I think that a lot of it is really about, looking at the basics, right? Like we have, the core brand strategy. The thing that you really need to focus on is, what your mission is. That's the 30-second elevator pitch that you really need to dial down and really able to articulate that in a very concise manner to someone new. But also along with that, something that I think a lot of businesses kind of miss is their brand value. Think about it, your brand mission, what you are doing, but your brand value help you understand why you're doing it. If you look at a brand like Patagonia, their brand mission, if you look at their, store, they're an outdoor brand who are doing, selling outdoor gear and accessory and fashion to people who do outdoor activities. But if you look at their value, they're really focused on this idea of the environment. They have a lot of campaign and marketing and messaging really dial down on that aspect. Once you have that brand mission, you have that brand value, I think it's really important for you to conduct research into your audience. Really find out who they are. A good way that you can do it is, looking at a statistic. Like, what are people searching for? What are your audience Googling besides just looking up products, right? Like, for example, if you're a juice brand, like a health juice brand, for example, and your audience is also maybe looking for yoga class, maybe it's a good time for you to connect with a yoga influencer, for example. And that's how a lot of brands does it. They kind of seek out influencer to kind of appeal to that target audience and really speak to them in a kind of context that is friendly, that is appealing. And that's everything has to do with thinking about strategy and where you can connect to your audience. And a part of that is really understanding your product. And one exercise that I really like to do to really understand where my product is in the market is really to look at competitor. For example, like if you're selling sports shoe and you look at all the market of all the different sports shoe brands on the market. And the way you do it is to create this kind of map. On one axis is maybe, cheap to expensive. And the other axis may be from casual wear to sport wear. And, you really want to take your competitor and really dot them in this kind of map. And how does that help you? Is that then you can, really determine where's the gap, where in the market can you slot, your brand in, where you can differ yourself from others in the market. Because it's much easier to compete in a market where, your other competitor are not touching rather than, competing with them on a similar ground. Because right now it's not just about branding, it's about price, about the, distribution. You have to compete with their marketing, with their budget. And I think for startup, it's really important for you to determine that gap and fill it very aggressively to the point that you overtake that kind of section of the map and really claim your market before, all the big brands start realizing, oh, I can do that too. And they have much more budget to really, fill that slot and, you drown out my competitor.
So at Coeus, when we were building our own brand, we actually did this activity where we would have, one word at one end and one on the other, like more educational or more a form of entertainment. And doing this activity with our team really helped a lot, like on aligning all of us on what our actual mission is and what our values are, which was really helpful. For Coeus itself, we realized that we really want to be more educational. We want people to feel like it's more conversational, kind of like we're growing together and not specifically like we're teaching our audience, but like we're growing with them and supporting them. A lot of media brands are more focused on entertainment, but we really wanted to differentiate ourselves by focusing on education and specifically entrepreneurship, because we could have had a very like broad business audience, but we really wanted to cater specifically to people that want to build their own company, who are creative and innovators and change makers. So it helped a lot to do this activity with our team and really make sure that all of us were aligned on our values and that we were sure that we were, offering something new compared to other media brands talking about business.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was talking about, right? Like that gap. You really need to nail that down. And the more specific and the more small the gap is, it's easier to fill. And that's also kind of related to that conversation of like, you don't want to target a large audience base because that's a big gap to fill. And you're gonna be war with a bunch of other brands, where if you're like smaller and more targeted, you can be a lot more effective with your strategy and really appealing and talking to that audience.
Let it all